What's going on, everybody? We are back with another review. Just going to keep it chugging. Going to dive into a bottle that, God, the first time I've had one of these, so I want to say upon first release, going back maybe, God, 3 years ago now, when they were really cheap. Now they've been aggressively just going up in retail value, which sucks. But thanks to my buddy Manny, I'm going to get to try this with you guys. He already cracked the bottle. We're going to sample it, dive in, give you my thoughts, see if it's worth picking up if you could find it, and kind of go from there. If you're new to the channel, hit the like and subscribe. We're going to kick it off, guys. Cheers. Welcome back. And we're just going to kick this show off. We're going to be jumping into a new release or semi-new. I know it's new to me. I've only owned, I think, batch 2. And I believe this is probably like batch 5 or 6. But what we're going to be talking about today, guys, and tasting is the newest Russell's 13 Spring 2025. I know the light's not picking it up too great. It's a little dark back there, but Spring 2025, it looks great. Like, that's pretty darn dark. My reference points for Russells are batch 1, batch 2, and batch 3, with batch 2 being my favorite of the 3, but all pretty good. You know, the McCamp Nelsons or the Rickhouses, I believe they're called. Those have been pretty solid too. But batch 2, Russell's 13, was just ridiculously good for me. So we're gonna probably poured more than I should have poured. Thanks, Fanny. Out of air, but we're gonna dive in, guys, and see how this stacks up to batch 2. Yeah, as you can see, definitely some good color. And it looks like it's sticking to the glass. I kind of just spun it just a bit, and I got that halo effect that you guys hear me say a lot on the whiskey. I don't know if it's gonna pick it up. Yeah, but you can see it. It's a little dark, but you can see that just out in the top of the glass. It's going for a nose. Cheers, you all. So I have a more recent batch of, or the newer label rare breed. It's in the corner, which you guys can probably see tucked by like that K Luke over there. And this nose is like a very dense, potent version of that. Even comes across higher proof than that on the nose. And this is less. Oh no, actually, this is higher. Oh wow. Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Let me know in the comments, but I thought the first few Russell's 13s were all like 114 proof or something like that, right? I probably should have did a little bit of research before jumping into this, but this is 123.8. And yeah, you get that on the nose. I was thinking it was actually less proof than the rare breed, but coming across on the nose, higher proof. But yeah, that's the reason why it's coming across higher proof, because it is. So 123.8 proof. Wow. Okay. It's one of the highest Russell, or not even Russell's, just Wild Turkey products ever. I think what Generations, I believe, was highest at like 125-ish, 126, maybe somewhere around there. But on the nose, that orange for me is like that telltale for Russell's. Like, there's no denying that. Like, this really smells like an older rare breed. Very, very similar to what I get on that one, from what I remember at least. But nice spice, citrus, lovely orange. It's like a candied orange. Like those little, almost like a peach, like if think of a peach ring, but an orange ring with like the sugars on top of like an orange flavored candy. I don't even know if they make one like that, but substitute the peach ring for an orange ring, and that's what I'm getting right here. It's like a cooked down sweet candied orange. Nice spice, nice oak. It's sweet, but that citrus is unrelenting. Now let's go for a taste. Cheers. I'm gonna have to take another sip before I actually done that, because that's not what I was expecting. Let's take another sip. Yeah, so that's more like that first sip for me. And that's why I always like to take another sip just in case. You know, the second sip usually brings out more of that flavor. That first sip for me felt flat immediately. And I was like, whoa, you know, it's 123 proof Russells. It can't be falling flat, especially at 13 years. So second sip definitely hit me. Still honestly doesn't really drink like 123 proof. Like, to me, it doesn't drink that much hotter than a regular Russell's pick, which is 110. You know, that second sip did have a lot more of like that flavor punch, but I think this drink's lower than its proof. And what I did really, really love about batch 2, I got a lot of like deep, rich cherry on top of that citrus. And I'm not getting the cherry on this one. which is that I love that note on Russells. When you get that cherry, sometimes on some Mount Creeks, so you get that cherry. That's my wheelhouse. This is good. This is good. It's not batch two for me. That second sip was definitely a step up. We're going to take one sip and kind of break it down for you guys a bit. This is kind of an odd one because it just fell flat again for me. First sip was a little flat. Second sip, all the flavors were there. Third sip, flat again, which is weird. We're going to take another sip as if it was like another second sip to see if we get all that flavor again. But that caught me off guard. That's so weird. The second sip each time is the way better sip. Interesting. I may try this again on like a super, super clean palate. I did have pizza like hours ago, and I don't know if that's playing into it a little bit, but it's still good. It leaves me wanting maybe a little bit more from it. If I got to take a second sip each time just to get, the real feeling of the whiskey and the taste of the whiskey, that's not necessarily a problem, but I don't really want to do that. I kind of want to get that feeling on every sip of the whiskey. But yeah, that second sip definitely coats the mouth a little bit more. Flavor retention's there. But yeah, it lacks a little bit on the first sip, which is interesting. Let's go back into another first sip and see if it falls flat for us. And then we're going to end this off. No, it didn't fall flat. Maybe it's a time in between sips with this because that tasted just like the last sip I had. It is missing that cherry that I do love on some of the older Wild Turkey stuff, but this is solid. Like I said, I don't really have a big reference point, guys. I had the first 3 batches or tasted those. I believe this is the 6th batch. Could be wrong. It may could be the 5th, but it's good. If you can find it at retail, I'm not sure what retail is now. I think it's probably like between 130 to 150. I know when I bought batch 2, like this is going on like 3 years ago, they were $69.99 when I got them, which now these are more than double the price, right? So is it worth that? I would say yes, considering like the Rickhouse proof ones, or not Rickhouse proof, I forget what they're called, right? I think they're Rickhouses, but those ones are like, what, 250, 275, when you can get a 13-year-old for, almost half that cost. I think the value's there in that sense, but it is still a little pricey, and there are some Russell's Reserve picks that I would probably choose over this specific 13. I don't know if I'll choose a pick over batch 2's 13 because that was just ridiculously good for me. But there's some picks that I would probably choose over this, and those picks are always sub 100 versus upwards to $150 on it. This will probably score still pretty decent. I would think in the low to mid 80s on this one. I'll probably pour a sample and do like an actual score review. And you guys will see some of our scores towards the end of the year, see what comes in like, our top outside of our picks in terms of, best whiskeys of the year. We do it every year. So right off of the first few sips, I don't think this is probably going to make it in my top, but we shall see. I haven't really drank a lot of whiskey this year. So the lesser amount of whiskey I drink, the more, I guess, the higher of a chance this does make it in. But, I'll kind of start diving into some stuff pretty soon. I'm going to be drinking through some samples that some buddies are sending. But good whiskey, retail, if you can find it at retail, I would say it's worth a pickup. If it's secondary, I wouldn't pay secondary for this batch. I don't think it's worth it, but I do think it's good. But secondary is probably $250, $300, and I don't think it's worth that price point, right? But yeah, if you can find it at retail, guys, I think it's definitely worth a pickup. It's good whiskey, not blow your mind whiskey, but it's definitely enjoyable. On that note, guys, we're going to take off. Appreciate you again, Manny, for letting me sample through this. I'll get this back over to you. So next time, guys, cheers.
Thank you for watching Hello Again, Whiskey Friends, everybody. A big shout out to our amazing Patreon community. If it wasn't for you, we couldn't continue to produce the content and barrel picks week after week. And for everybody else out there, be sure to hit that like and subscribe. It really helps the channel more than you know.